Across the tracks. Across the tracks. It's time to go. We're going across the tracks. Across the tracks, Eric Brombacher and the Sioux. Eric, welcome back to the studio. It's been a while.
Yeah, right on. Thanks, Adrian.
Yeah.
Great to be back.
Good to see you again. I caught your show the other night.
Yeah.
And you played some of the songs we're going to go over tonight.
Yeah.
Algoma Street, a 6-song EP that you released in this year, 2024.
Yeah, in July of 2024. Yeah, so it's
so
about
it's
4
fresh.
weeks old now.
Wow,
Yeah.
is that fresh? Awesome.
Yeah.
I love it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
We're going to go through it, and I figure we'll go in the order of the
Sure.
songs that the way you present them on the album.
Sure.
And so the first song, what's the first song? Time Won't Let Me.
Time Won't Let Me. Yeah. Yeah.
And so right away, I've been listening to your music, so we have your entire catalog. We play it. I know it quite well.
Good.
And when I heard it for the first time, and since it's instant to me, there's another layer. There's another level of sound quality.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about
Yeah.
your band, your production team,
Sure.
and the sound before we actually even talk about the
Yeah.
songs.
Yeah. Well, it's so there's kind of 3 core members in the band, and we've kind of morphed over time. But there's myself, who's from Sault Ste. Marie, Eric Brombacher, and then there's another fellow Sault Ste. Marie native, Dino Nacarado. He plays drums, and I never knew him in the Sioux. I met him in Toronto
Cool.
about 20 years ago, and then Ken Yoshioka, who's our guitar player. Ken's actually from Kamakura, Japan. And he coincidentally lives on Algoma Street, which is kind of in Etobicoke, which is where the record comes from, or the name of the record comes from. The production and the recording, you learn a little something every album you do. And between Shatterbox and Eric and the Sioux, I've probably put out something like 8 different EPs or albums over the years, and you get a little better every time. I can hear all my mistakes on every record, and I know, what I would do better next time, and that kind of gets fed into the process. You get more confident at it over time, so you know when to speak up and when not to, right? And when to let things kind of play out. This time around, we like you said, you can really hear the production. We usually record live off the floor. Which is fun, and it really captures the emotion of a recording. This time, we took a bit of a different approach, kind of a hybrid approach, and that allowed us to spend more time massaging the tracks and doing multiple takes on different elements of the various tracks. The other part of the production process, I spent a lot of time with Dino, who's, again, our drummer, working out kind of the groove and feel of the songs and the arrangements. Because Dino and I get together pretty much every week, and we jam and we work on stuff. And that's helped me kind of shape and craft the songs as part of the production process, which is a luxury I didn't have in the past, because a lot of times in the past, I'd write the songs, send the charts to the band. Maybe we'd have a chance to rehearse before going in the studio, but oftentimes not, and we would just kind of play it once or twice in the studio, and that was it, and that was the take, and that's what we went forward with, which was cool too. That brings an exciting energy to it. I wanted to balance that kind of live off the floor feeling with the kind of the ability to really spend time on the individual elements of the tracks. So we came up with a way of creating a bed track, not using a click track, but just with me and Dino performing the song live in his drum studio, and then using that as a bed or as a foundation to build the tracks. And that allows the time to kind of swing and move in a natural, non-robotic way, so to speak, because we are spending more time on focusing on the groove element of the songs.
Cool.
Before it was, the earlier records, it was more, focus on my vocal melody and the chord structure that I would come up with, and then everything just kind of gets played along again like a live performance, like you would on stage. But again, I didn't have the deep relationship with Dino that I have now, and so it was more like, you want to play it like this, you want to play it like that, okay, let's try it like this, boom, go, take one, take two, okay, on to the next song. Whereas now, spending time with Dino in the early kind of gestation period of the songs, I really had the opportunity to kind of, come up with the appropriate groove and the appropriate arrangement of the songs. And
so it's not a coincidence then that it comes out with the drums already, the first song.
Yeah, but and again,
you set that groove right away.
Yeah, Dino's kind of an introvert and probably doesn't gravitate towards drawing attention to himself, but at the same time, when it's necessary, he can do those intros. And I like sometimes, it's tempting to just start on the guitar and like a live performance and then have the band come in, but letting the drums lead things for, once in a while, it sets a different tone. And I thought it's a nice way to start the album. You hear a nice little drum fill come in and then the album starts, right?
Yeah. It's pretty straight ahead song, right?
It is, yeah.
Song of lament and despair, common territory for many a songwriter.
Yeah.
But you're established exactly what you've just been talking about. And now that you've said all of that, I hear it in the record. So,
yeah.
Okay, so you're going for the sound. Later we'll get into deeper messaging.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, we'll give that a listen here.
Yeah.
And get the thing going, because we all have had the broken heart. We know that.
Yeah.
We know the feeling here.
Yeah. And just to add to the kind of the groove element aspect of, the record. So Dino at the time, so this Time Won't Let Me is actually a song I'd written, about 8 or 9 years ago, and I used to perform it live and then just never thought much of it and stopped playing it, and then we dug it up and decided to revisit it, and Dino always liked the song. But again, when we came back to it, I used to play it very straight ahead. Dino had been listening, and he's a big fan of J.J. Cale. So we actually kind of slowed the tempo a bit and made it more of a kind of a shuffling, not a shuffle, but more of like a slower groove, kind of like that J.J. Cale understated feel. Mm-hmm. And again, that's an example of where, Dino's input into the creation of the song kind of comes forth. Yeah.
Memory of your embrace.
really takes an amazing turn with the next tune.
Yeah.
And now this is a co-writing.
This is actually written by Ken.
Oh wow.
Ken Yoshioka. Yeah.
Today's news. Nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
Which of course is.
Bit tongue in cheek there.
Bit tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
No kidding, man.
Yeah.
Mother Earth is mad. It's a climate change tune in there.
That's right.
I can relate to that.
Yeah.
And of course, the same sad song. See, the whole world has gone wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, and those are all Ken's lyrics, which is which is great, and it's great too. Ken's such a crucial part of the band. He's a founding member, and he's a crucial part of the sound of the band. And he has co-written with me before, notably the song "We Will Stay the Same," which is actually quite a popular tune of ours. And that was a co-write with Ken. He wrote the music, and I wrote the words. But this is the first time we've recorded a song that's Ken front to back, and I was honored to be offered the opportunity to record his song, and I hope we did it justice.
You did.
Yeah.
Tell me about that last minute and a half, 2 minutes outro.
Yeah, that's Ken. That's and that's the other thing that's kind of cool. Not only is this this song really it's a chance to kind of show off some of the other members of the band. Ken in this case, and so it's his lyrics, and it's him playing the guitar, and the whole song is really built around the guitar part. And so there's that little section at the end, the last minute and a half or almost 2 minutes, where it's there's basically an extended guitar solo, and then the band comes in for an accelerated outro. It's a really musically interesting piece, and and it's quite out there in terms of what I've recorded in the past. I don't think I've ever recorded a song like this. And I think it's and again, it's a unique song, and I think it came together really well. The drums sound great, Ken's performance is great, the keys sound great. We had local Sault Ste. Marie native John Ferguson plays bass on that track, and he did a great job in it. Yeah,
you know what else I found in it too is, and I hear this often, when the singer sings their own words. It's their own voice.
Yeah.
When they're singing somebody else's words, there's just a subtle change, and I hear it in this song too, because they're not your words. You're interpreting now, and so it's a different voice.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, and also it's Ken is traditionally a blues player, and this is a blues song, and I've not really sung blues in the past, so leaning into that and trying to. It's tempting when you sing to almost become a parody of yourself, right? So I didn't want to be a parody of a blues singer, so I wanted to sing a blues song, but with my own voice. So some of that, outsideness comes in from the fact that I'm not singing my words. I'm also not singing in a genre that I don't traditionally sing in. But I think I did a good job of mapping to that genre without departing too much away from who I am and what I sound like, and there's a balance there. You want to emote, but you don't want to over emote.
Sing a sad song, see the whole world gone wrong. You're strong, I bet you're gonna survive. For how long? And when your fingers burn, you can tell Mother Earth is mad. I can't breathe. Somebody please get me out of here. Here comes today's news. Here it comes, brother. Heat wave, wildfire, one after another. You refuse to believe the truth, but don't say it's a fake. Somebody rescue me, for God's sake. Sing a sad believe the truth, but don't say it's a fake. Somebody rescue me, for God's sake. Oil spill, deforestation, melting icebergs. Somebody rescue me before I lose my mind. You can still smile, my friend, if you know how to pretend. There's nothing to worry about. 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 There's nothing to worry about.
Well, man, you nailed it. That's a great, it's a great performance there.
Thank you.
And then the album really kicks in with the next song. There's some anger going on here, and
Yeah.
F-bombs flying and everything.
Oh, I know.
You know, you
Yeah.
gotta, when a guy's angry, he's gotta let it rip.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
You got some cool things in there, but I want to ask you, what do you think is the, is this a song of the pervading attitude that we see in everyday?
I mean, there's a few things going on in that song. I mean, it's look, and I mean, we're seeing this on a much larger scale. But, like I've lived life, and I continue to live life a little off the beaten path, and that's fine, and that's a hard thing to do. It's hard to live differently, and it's hard to live outside of society's expectations. And I would say it's hard enough without people then either questioning or belittling or wanting to, make you feel bad about the fact that you've made different choices. And, so that the song's about that. People want to get into my business and tell me I should do this, I should do that, or how come I'm doing this, or you're doing it wrong. And it's, what, I'm just living my life. I'm just and as the lyrics say, I'm just a human being. I'm just trying to be. Let me be. I'm just trying to live life. I'm not taking anything away from you. And if you don't like, if you don't like what I'm doing, then just move along, right? Most people appreciate what you're doing. Most people like about it. There is a lot of, I feel like there's a lot of, I've had the conversation a lot of times where people don't want to understand what I'm doing. And and I'm fine with it. They don't have to, right? They can move on. So,
you got a line in there that I often say, the biggest thing that I notice in the attitude is so much of supporting the arts is the simplest thing. Just show up. just
Yeah.
show up. It's the doing, and you talk about the doing, and then once you do it, seeing what you've done.
Yeah.
Not seeing just by looking, like
Yeah.
binge watching.
Yeah.
Not that seeing the doing. Mm-hmm. And I love the way that, and that anger that's in the song.
Yeah, and it's
is
funny.
effective.
Yeah, well, good. I'm glad. I mean, that's the only song I've ever had that I've had to mark as explicit because I put the F-bomb in there. And, I considered it carefully, and it needed to be in there to convey what I was trying to say. And when songs like that are a bit embarrassing to me too, though. Like, I'm not a bitter guy, but it comes off as a bit of a bitter sounding song. But I guess that's rock and roll. There's got to be a little bit of anger in rock and roll.
Well, what the fuck? Let's let it out.
People ask me, what am I trying to do? Then they tell me who I'm supposed to be. Then they ask me, who do I think I am? Well, who the fuck are you to ask who am I? I'm just a human being, doing, seeing. I'm just a human being, living, dreaming. It's all I wanna do. All I wanna do is be a human being, doing, seeing. I'm just a human being, loving, feeling. Let me be. You know I just wanna be. You know it's all I wanna do. All I wanna do is be. And I don't wanna live in contradiction. But I don't need to live your predilection of who I ought to be. You know I just wanna be a human being, doing, seeing. I'm just a human being, living, loving, dreaming. A human being, doing, seeing. A human being, human being, a human being, just a human being, a human being.
And then you come out with another bluesy tune after Human Being, but it's very connected to the song.
Yeah.
To me, they're kind of a piece there. I've been searching.
Yeah.
Keyboard play on there is fabulous.
Yeah, it's incredible.
I should have mentioned back there some harmonica play too was incredible.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
But the keyboards here.
Yeah.
Talk
yeah.
about the keyboards a little because
Yeah.
it really sets the blues.
It really does. Yeah, and it's interesting because so the keyboard playing that you're hearing, that's Julian Fouth. Who's another kind of core member of the Eric and the Sue universe, shall we say? And he's been on the last 3 sets of recordings, 3 major recording sessions that we've done. And he's he's a local blues player, very versatile. And a very, I would say quite a success in his own right. I mean, I think, I don't know how long ago, but he got like a Juno Award for Best Blues Album back in the early 2000s. Really, really talented, lovely, lovely, sweet guy. And just, he likes playing on my records, and I'm thrilled that, that he's part of the team.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you fight that feeling that you get when things aren't going well? It's the challenges of living. There's
Yeah,
ups and downs.
Yeah, you mean in a recording session or just
Well,
in
there's-
general?
In general, maybe recording is the
Yeah.
way you fight it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm happiest when I'm working on things and I've got a project to work on. And, so working on this project, it gave me a purpose every day, and there was always something I had on the go. And, I think the best part about making a record is making it. The worst part is when you release it, right? Because then you're done, you got nothing to work on anymore, and you're a little bit spent from the emotional energy, and the creative energy it took to put the record out. So, you kind of go into this gray zone where you're not really interested in playing or creating for a while, but you're also kind of looking forward to being back in that mode of creating, because that is where I know I'm the happiest. And so for me, I got to create. And even there's a lot of challenges with being a musician. I mean, it's not the lucrative, I don't know if it was ever a lucrative business, but it's a challenge. I'm not going to pretend geez, I wish it was the 70s again. Well, it's not, right? I think I also reflect and try to focus on the parts of the business, if you can call it a business, or the artistic process that I like, the parts that bring me joy, and and worry less about the parts that I can't control. So for me, I really derive a lot of joy out of the creative process of writing the songs, and then the actual creative and technical work that goes into producing and recording the songs. Like, that's such an interesting and fun thing to do. And you'll notice my social media presence is very, very limited. And that's a bit by design, because the other side of, when the record's out, there's this pressure to promote and talk about it all the time. And, I don't have the stomach for that. I put out a post a week, the album's out, it's out there now. I promote it when I do shows, but social media promotion it's a bit soul sucking, so I stay away from that.
Sitting alone, just a prisoner of my thoughts. All alone on this beautiful rock. The night moon beckons me and it shines as I am lost. My mind is spinning like the hands on a runaway clock. I've been searching, I've been dreaming, I've been hoping for so long. I've been searching, I've been dreaming, I've been running all night long. I let these booze and pills take away all my thrills. But it used to be the other way around. I've been searching, I've been dreaming. You know, I used to be so strong. Now I read the news of the day, and I wish I could crawl away. What happened to the happiness we once found? Doesn't your government work for you? I've been searching, I've been dreaming for an answer long gone. Could it all have gone so wrong?
You'd mentioned earlier about the challenges of doing your thing, going off the beaten
Yeah.
path, your own drummer,
Yeah.
as opposed to I'm going to talk about Easy Misery, about just collecting the paycheck,
Right.
but the sacrifice made there.
Yeah.
That the paycheck's great.
Yeah.
One day every 2 weeks, I feel good. The other times,
Yeah.
it's a battle.
Yeah.
This song, though, in your liner notes, you applaud your engineer and your mastering, the master
Yeah.
engineer, Jeff Fedge Elliott, and I could see why on this.
Yeah, so
There-
it was John Dinsmore that did the mixing.
Oh,
so
sorry,
he's
there-
the one, yeah, and
Gotcha.
then Jeff did the mastering. But yeah, I mean, both of them,
Glad
you
you
know, as a
clarified.
team, yeah.
And it starts out with it sounds like a conversation in Japanese.
Well, there's multiple things going on, yeah, and let me talk about that intro part, and this is where, you know, what we shipped John to actually work with and mix with. I mean, it was a dog's breakfast, and he turned it into something, you know, beautiful and decipherable. So that intro section is completely improvised, and how that came about is, you know, when I would get, so Dino, who I meet, is our drummer, who I meet with, you know, once a week roughly. You know, he comes from a jazz tradition. He studied jazz at Humber College, and one of the things that he likes to do when we get together is the first, you know, 3 or 4 minutes of our rehearsal session is purely improvised. So he's just making noises. I'm making noises on the guitar, not in any particular key. And so we had the idea, let's record one of those sessions and have that lead into the song, Easy Misery. So that front section where all that stuff's happening, you know, it came from me and Dino doing an improvised jam, and then each of the various members of the band, when they would record the song, they would spend the first 2 minutes of the song purely improvising. And when each person recorded their part, they had never heard it before, so they were improvising as if, you know, it was the first time they were hearing it. So it's a purely improvised piece at the beginning. And then Dino had the idea, geez, it'd be cool if we had some talking in it, like they did on those old Pink Floyd records. So, you know, I took that back and I thought about it, and I'm like, okay, well, Dino speaks fluent Italian, I speak fluent German, and Ken speaks fluent Japanese. You know, those are our respective native tongues. And so I said, hey, I didn't tell him what to say. I just said, you know, do something in your native tongue. So Dino starts off in Japanese, and he's quoting from the opening verses of Dante's Purgatorio, which kind of fits the song because, you know, being in the corporate world is a kind of purgatory. Easy misery, right? That's purgatory.
Yeah.
And then Ken is quoting from a Japanese poet, Ishikawa, I think, but I you know, I'm not sure if that's right. But and again, and he told me what it means translated, and again, it's very much, you know, related to that malaise of midlife, And then I'm quoting from Nietzsche and Goethe, which are German philosophers. And again, that kind of, one of the quotes I say, hey, he who fights monsters should be careful that he himself does not become a monster. That's Goethe. And that's one of the quotes that's in there. And and then the song starts. And, as you'd pointed out, it's a reflection of, the other side of the coin, which was the corporate career, where it was really, really easy, quote unquote. But I mean, it was
the money was easy.
The money was there,
yeah,
right. But it was not fulfilling, and it was easy for the time to go by.
Yeah, that's kind of the lesson that you get in it, right?
Yeah.
In chasing the money, what you learn is time flies.
Yeah,
and it makes me laugh because I always, when I hear that expression, I think of the comedian. Bet Your Life. Who am I talking about there?
Oh, Groucho Marx.
Groucho Marx.
Yeah.
Time flies. He goes, fruit flies like bananas. And time does fly, right?
It does, yeah.
And in being the human being and doing, and you realize you better get doing it because.
Yeah.
And the easy misery explains all of that. I love that.
Yeah, and it's another song that was that I'd kind of. I hadn't had the song per se, but I'd had the lyrics had been lying around. I pretty much wrote the lyrics after I retired from the corporate world, which was in 2016. And, it was kind of my reflection of, and, again, I was probably in a darker place then. And it was my reflection of, it's an easy misery. Yeah, it's easy. And you're right, and I'd never even thought of this. It's kind of the opposite song, or the companion song to Human Being, whereas, Human Being, I'm now doing what I want, but I find I have to explain myself all the time, right? And that's where that line in Easy Misery comes. You don't have to question, you don't have to explain, or you don't have to think, you don't have to justify every little thing. Like I feel when I tell people, so, I've actually kind of stopped telling people I'm a musician. I just say I'm retired now. And then, people that know me as a musician, that's fine. But if I lead with that, I'm always put in a situation where I have to justify the decisions I've made in my life. Mm-hmm. And I think, those two songs kind of push and pull at those themes. It's interesting, and I never think of these things until people start asking me questions, because I write very stream of consciousness, and I often don't even know what my songs are about until years after I've written them, which is a crazy, new agey thing to say, but it's the honest truth.
Percorre miglior acque, alza le vele, ormai la navicella del mio ingegno, che lascia dietro a sé il mare così crudele, e canterò in quel secondo regno, dove l'umano spirito si purga e di salire al cielo divento indegno.
汚れたる手を見るちょうどこの頃の自分の心に向かうがごとし
Man werde am besten für seine Tugenden bestraft. Wer mit Ungeheuern kämpft, mag zu sehen, dass nicht dabei zum Ungeheuer wird.
汚れたる手を洗いし時のかすかなる満足が今日の満足なりき
Man muss noch Chaos in sich haben, einen tanzenden Stern gebären zu können.
Ma qui la morta poesia è surda, o sante muse, poi che vostro sogno è qui, Calliope, alcuno surga, seguendo il mio canto con quel suono di crueli picche miserie, sentirono il colpo, disperare perdono.
Der Alte verliert eines der größten Menschenrechte. Er wird nicht mehr als seinesgleichen beurteilt.
misery, and it ought to be a crime. One day you wake up and half your life is gone. Did you even think this day would come? One day you wake up and half your life is gone. Did you even think this day would ever come? One day you wake up and half your life is gone. Did you even think this day would come? One day you wake up and half your life is gone. Did you even think this day would ever come? It's an easy misery playing someone else's game. Oh, it's easy, but it's a misery just the same. Oh, it's easy, but it's a misery just the same. Oh, it's easy, but it's a misery just the same.
Yeah, I hear that oftentimes later in careers.
Yeah.
That artists go back to their earlier stuff, and great music reinvents itself. You don't
Yeah.
reinvent it. The music, time has passed. There's new experiences.
Yeah.
And then you write the song that closes the EP, which is heavy. I Am the Universe.
Yeah.
And of course,
Yeah.
you and I are friends. And
Yeah.
I've known your father for far longer than you. And,
Yeah, yeah.
And, you know, I
Yeah, and
consider
my mom
your
too.
dad a dear friend, really.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And your mother. And so it's a song about that.
Yeah.
It really is a beautiful thing to do.
Thank you.
For your mother, who
Yeah,
is
who's
ill at
on
the-
hard times.
yeah.
Yeah. It was I don't want to get too much into the
Yeah.
personal side of it, but you know, I wrote that song after a traumatic event, and that's sometimes where songs come from, and it came out pretty quickly, and yeah, and then I would say for the first 3 or 4 months, as I was kind of rehearsing that song, and I could never, I couldn't get through it without crying. I was able to, record it. By the time I recorded it, enough time had passed. But yeah, it's one of those songs too. I've recorded it, I've documented it. I'm really proud of it, I think. And the band did a great job. I think musically and production-wise, I couldn't have asked for a better outcome. I don't think I'll ever perform or play that song again. It's just it's a little document. It's me putting my putting it on the page there, and I'm just gonna let it live on. I'm also not pushing that song from a marketing perspective. If people find it, that's great,
Yeah.
But that's
Beautiful, beautiful.
yeah.
I know I should cry, but the tears don't come. I have lost all sense of equilibrium. Oh, I know I should cry, but the tears don't come. I came to you when you were young. this family. We are the universe. We will always be. You left your home in Germany. With my father, you sailed across the sea to a land of winter and everlasting trees. You built a life together on the north of the Twin Seas. While you were cooking supper, he was out selling shoes. Such a kind and gentle man, and he always loved you. I am the universe and you are me. I am my father too, and every branch in the tree. A billion specks of stardust to build this family. We are the universe. We will always be. You could stretch a dollar, sew the button on my shirt. You knew when to swallow your pride, but you never forgot your worth. You taught us how to make the most of the time we have on earth. You were a mother to my wife. You gave us all a beautiful life. Sometimes reality can cut like a knife. I am the universe and you are me. I am my brother too, and every branch in the tree. A billion specks of stardust to build this family. We are the universe. We will always be. I see you in the stars, in the rings of Saturn, on Jupiter and Mars, Venus and Mercury, in the corona of the sun. You are the universe. We are one. I wish I could cry, but the tears won't come. I have lost my equilibrium. Oh, I wish I could cry, but the tears won't come. Oh, I wish I could cry, but the tears won't come.
I want to talk about a couple other songs too.
Of course, yeah.
Because before this album came out, you had did some experimenting. I came across you sent me all your stuff.
Yeah.
Super thankful for it. And you met some guy in Sweden,
Switzerland.
In Switzerland again. Thanks for that. Ratko Vukovic, or George Maxwell.
George Maxwell is his stage name. Yeah. Well, he's actually a visual artist, so he's a very prolific creator of pop art and visual art. And so he markets himself under George Maxwell, and then so he also does music on the side with that. Yeah.
Gotcha. And in your liner notes there, you're unabashed about your admiration for the guy.
Yeah.
That, I want to be that kind of artist.
Yeah.
He's working, he's doing, he's prolific.
Yeah.
He's experimenting, he's exploring.
Yeah.
And he's growing. And I hear that in the record.
Yeah.
So this record is, I think, come out after that time, but somewhere that influence and what you're chasing there is there. And of course, it's a complete departure for you.
Yeah,
and it works, man.
Well, thank you. Yeah, and it's that it's I guess I don't know what that's called. Synth pop is the genre. Definitely outside of my comfort zone, and I don't even really listen to that kind of music. So I would know,
It's rave music, man.
Is that what it is? It's rave, yeah.
You could see where a DJ is going to really bump that thing up to the max. Yeah. But you've laid the foundation there. But synth pop's good, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Rave music, yeah, and that fits. I mean, Ratko's, he's a modern guy, and he's and he's lived, I think, more that like he's more familiar with raves and dance clubs than I am. I was more of a dive bar rock and roll guy. But yeah, so that makes sense that's a rave record and or a rave song. And I just respect I do respect George or Ratko as an artist, and kind of how it came about is more from the perspective of him talking about his visual art. As you said, we found common ground in that both of us, one of the things that we talked about is we don't make art because we want to. We make art because we have to. Right, I can't stop it from coming out, and I've gone through periods where I've said I don't want to write songs anymore. I want to stop. I want to do it, and I can't help it. It just comes out. They come out. I'm not the type of artist that sits down and says, okay, I'm going to do a songwriting session now, and I'm going to churn something out, and force myself to write. I'm quite the opposite. It's the inspiration strikes, and then I hear the melody and the song starts coming out, and it comes out, I put it on the page. And that's what George is like, and it's just coming out because it's in him, and he's got to get it out. And that there's a purity in that, and there's a purity in the way he approaches art. So I knew, even though this was outside my comfort zone, that he would do a good job of it. So the music is his. And how that came about, he sent me the music, or the general foundation, and I basically kind of listened to it a few times, and then I improvised the lyrics, and then I kind of wrote the lyrics down. It took me about an afternoon, and then I just sent him my vocals, and then he took it and he cut and pasted, and so there's a lot more manipulation in this genre of music too. All the little echoes and the stops and the stutters that I do, that's all post-production stuff. And I thought he did and he was really thrilled with my lyrics and the melody line that I found, and I in turn was really thrilled with the way he produced it and presented it. So yeah, it was a nice and he's just a really, really lovely guy, so it was just nice to do something with him.
Faded windows broken. First time I saw your face. Purple sky and tear-stained eye, and I'm thinking back to the first time, the first time, the first time. And I close my eyes, and I close my eyes, and I close my eyes, and I lean back, and I'm dreaming back to the first time I saw your face. I don't wanna wait till you get back, 'cause I ain't seen you in such a long time, a long time, a long time.
That was fun for sure.
Yeah.
And just the irony of first time, the lyric, and the first time
Yeah,
that you
right.
win.
Yeah,
just
that's right. I never thought of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
And the other song we have to talk about is your venture into Texas.
Oh yeah, going to Texas. Yeah.
Again, just his electric blues. Give me the story on that, because this is a family operation.
It is a family operation. Yeah, it's very interesting. So my brother Mark, I call him Marky, but his name's Mark. So if I say Marky, it's not an insult. I've just been calling him that since he was born. Yeah, so he came up with the main lyric, the going to Texas, and the droning riff, which I play on bass. That bum bum bum. That song came to him in a dream. And he woke up, and you have a dream, and so you hear something, and you get an idea in your head, and then you're like, oh, I'm never going to forget this, and the next morning it's gone. But the next morning it was still there, and he was still humming it to himself. And he told me about this, and he told me about this maybe 1.5 or 2 years ago. And I said, oh, that's interesting, maybe we should record it one day. And I never thought much of it. And then, flash forward to, fall or summer of 2023, and he kind of approaches me with this idea. And he's in the process. This song will be included in a feature film that he's producing, or not producing. He wrote the script, and or maybe I guess he's producing. I don't know what the official, but he wrote the script, and he's the main actor in the movie. And the song is going to be featured in the movie as well. So he asked me to record it with the band with the movie, and. So, I got him to come over, and he kind of hummed the melody to me, and then we worked it out on piano. Not the melody, but the riff. And then I thought, that's a bass riff. And it was fun for me, too, because I don't usually play bass, but it was a chance for me to kind of play bass on a record. And we just did it as a trio, me, Dino, and Ken on the guitars. And, and then we came up with the lyrics, and then I wrote the bridge, like the middle section, and it just came together.
And Mark loved it.
Yeah, he loved it. He's really, really proud of it, know. And
of course, he's got a credit as a songwriter.
Yeah, and it's a cool song, and there's and that's another, that's us pushing the sound, and Algoma Street, the record in general, I wanted to push the sound. Going to Texas is pushing the sound, and I got a few more. I mean, I got plans for to put something out next year, and then I'm starting to write, and I really actually want to continue to push the sound in different directions. I think one of the downsides of the music industry being a little, stagnant these days, or whatever you want, or difficult these days, or oversaturated, whatever the appropriate word is, is it takes the pressure off me to stay with a single sound or genre. I think in the early days when I thought I was really going to make a go of this, I felt compelled to really stay inside as much as possible, stay inside the lines of the Americana folk sound. But now that I've abandoned hope of, real commercial success, it's allowing me to do more artistically and creatively, and I can push the sound into all these different kinds of directions, which you can't do if you're a big band or a famous band, because people get upset, right? They're like, well, that doesn't sound like the last record. These guys are awful now. Well, I don't have that pressure because I don't have that many fans. So, if I put out something that's a little different, they'll be like, oh, well, that's weird. I just won't listen to it, right? It's not a catastrophic thing if I go too far off the deep end. But I want to go off the deep end, right? That's where the fun is.
Texas, I'm leaving soon. I'm going to Texas, I'm bending a spoon. I'm going to Texas. I'm going to Texas. I'm going to Houston, she'll meet me there. I'm going to Houston, forget all my cares. I'm going to Texas. I'm going to Texas. Texas, I'm leaving tonight. I'm leaving Texas, red-eye flights. I'm going to Texas. I'm going to Texas.
Well, keep pushing it, man.
Yeah.
And really, you may have had a plan as to what your career, but you know what God says about plans. And so the plan is unfolding as it should. You just get the driver's seat and keep the thing steering and keep her going, man. Because the experimenting, the growing, it's happening.
Thank
the
you.
music gets better. It really does.
Yeah, thank you. And that's the main thing, not just with music, but humans, as human beings, we want to grow, right? That's when we're happy, is when we're growing and learning. And I feel pretty good that we're in a spot as a band where we're continuing to grow and learn. And I think that's mutual across the band members. There's this real feeling of, we're doing something interesting and meaningful. And maybe the world will catch up and maybe they won't, and that's okay.
Well, the music's always forever. So, whether it's today or down the road.
Yeah.
Eric and the Sioux, we just listened to 8 amazing tracks. Algoma Street, the full 6-song EP, and then 2 experimental things.
Yeah.
The future of Eric.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see where it goes.
Thanks, man, for coming on in.
Yeah, thank you so much, Adrian. I really appreciate this. Thank you.
We've gone across the tracks. This has been a Borderline Entertainment production.